Welcome to a new episode.
Yeah. So we're going by a first things first.
Yeah, we're not taking votes. It's just whoever first says something first in chat.
Yeah.
That's where we go.
Just to go by quicker, because then we get to Jackbox sooner.
It's true.
The Temple Quarter. I mean, not that this we're actually making good progress, team. Like you guys are doing good. The Temple Quarter of Newburgh is one of the oldest parts of the little town and the most peaceful. It contains a number of walled residences as well as the fairly humble shrines and temples to the northern gods that the ancestors of the Newburghers brought with them when they settled this area by force several centuries ago. The newest and grandest temples, dedicated to the currently fashionable gods and goddesses of commerce and farming, occupy large parks among the magnificent New Wall Street. From here, narrower avenues climb to the lower slopes of Castle Hill and provide access to the smaller and older shrines and temples. You find that walking up these winding avenues is like traveling backwards in time into the history of Newburgh and its once barbaric peoples. But as you climb up past the ever-dilapidated temples of ever more ancient and forgotten cults, you begin to despair of finding anything useful in this part of the town. You head for an unusually grand building that looks as if it's the oldest temple of all, but as you approach you see that it is virtually derelict, apparently deserted. If you want to press on and visit the last temple, turn to 322. If you'd rather go back to the center of town, turn to 108.
Go back to town.
Okay, I mean, we're ignoring a quest line that an NPC gave us, but, you know. We have to find the crazy man. Alright, so we can only go to the Newburgh Keep, so that's where we're going to go.
Go to keep. Keep. That's a monster.
The roads wind up the castle hill towards the brooding bulk of Newburgh Keep. The few townspeople you meet shake their heads and avert their eyes. They obviously believe you are either recklessly brave or completely senseless. The path becomes steeper, the houses are fewer and are a little more than the stone-fronted caves, and the black towers of the keep's curtain wall looms above you. The path you are on appears to lead directly to the castle's main gatehouse. There is a smaller, overgrown path that leads off to the right. If you want to stay on the main path, turn to 2. If you'd rather take the right-hand trail, turn to 95.
2? Back to the front of the book.
Yep. Alright, so do you want to enter in through the main path or take the right-hand trail? Right-hand trail.
Trail it is. We're going to keep. This is which direction you want to take to the keep.
Hacking at brambles with your sword, you follow the path around the hillside in the shadow of the battlements. The path veers to the left and disappears into a clump of bushes at the base of the wall. You push aside the prickly branches and discover a small door, which you have some difficulty in opening, as there's just as much undergrowth on the other side. You cut your way down a flight of stone steps and find yourself in an untended kitchen garden. The vegetable patches, herb beds, and fruit trees are wildly out of control and it is impossible to see across the garden. You can make that the garden is square, surrounded by walls, and has the remains of a gravel path around its edge. You're at the midpoint of one side. Will you turn to the right or the left? Will you go with Justin or will you go with Mike? They both went with Mike.
Nice. Night, friends. We still have 3 pies.
We do. 3 meat pies. Man, meat pies are so good.
Pies. Are they meat pies? Is that what they said?
Yeah. You reach the corner of the garden. The path and the wall turn to the left, and the corner of a gap in the wall forms a rough doorway into the base of one of the battlement towers. The interior of the tower is dark and silent. The path continues uninterrupted alongside the garden until it reaches another tower at the next corner. Do you want to enter the base of the battlement tower, or will you continue to the next corner of the garden? I agree, Slight Haze. Right is rarely right, and left is left.
Left?
Yes.
Oh.
Next corner. You have reached another tower in the corner of the garden. To your left, the path continues along the surrounding wall and passes a wide staircase that ascends from the garden. The wall of the square tower in front of you is windowless, but there is a small wooden door at the base. The door is slightly ajar, and there is darkness beyond it. If you would like to enter the tower through the door, turn to 394. If you would rather walk to the staircase and use it to leave the garden, go to 212.
Is that the fork we have at the bottom of the screen? Is that the fork?
Yes,
Just without the handle?
it's a trident. They're entering the door. 394 to enter the door.
266.
We got some combat. You step into the tower's dark interior and the door slams shut behind you. You spin around, drawing your sword, and with a gurgling roar, a ferocious creature attacks you. There is no source of light in this room, and you have no idea what you're fighting. Luckily, it keeps up a constant throaty growl, which helps you locate it. Its weapon seems to be a heavy, blunt object, and it's hindered by darkness almost as much as you. You good, Mike?
Mm-hmm.
All right, chat. When do you guys start rolling those d20s? It's like me and inner me. Yeah. The brooding man in the corner. This guy's weak. There's no way to heal in this game. You heal
No
by
way to
event. Ooh, OC Brad. Where's your laser sword? Oh, actually, OC Brad is fine. The guy rolled a 1. So that's 4 damage because it's a critical miss by our rules. Darkfire Yoshi. So that is... So 16 plus 9 is 25. This plus 5 is 24. We deal damage. Takes 2 more. Chad's roll didn't go through. Yeah, he was intimidated by my laser sword. It's true. Even if your laser sword doesn't work, they're still scared by it.
I mean, it worked. He just didn't dodge it. That's all that happened. He's like, oh, I see that you swung badly. I'm also going to.
Yeah. Yes, I see you suck. I will also suck to make it fair. But I will suck more.
So it's fair because you're the PC and I'm the NPC.
Nice roll, Chad. Yeah, he's dead.
He did.
If you defeat it, you pull open the door to throw some light on the dead body. It's a very ugly ogre, dressed in rags and wearing a huge white bonnet, or turban on its relatively small head. There's nothing else in the room except for a flight of stone steps leading up to a small door. Will you try on the oversized headgear, inspect the headgear first, or climb the stairs? OC Brad said inspect.
Inspect it. Darkfire Yoshi also said inspect it. Inspect.
The unusual hat is made of loosely wound strips of white cloth. It is surprisingly heavy, and turning it over, you find a shining, glutinous mass quivering inside. 2 dark lumps embedded in the transparent gel seem to stare at you like eyes. You instinctively want to hurl it to the floor in disgust, but before you can do that, you are taken with the idea of trying on the hat. You are not sure where the idea came from, but increasingly impels you as the best course of action. Test your willpower. Our willpower was successful.
So it goes down.
Yeah. If you're successful, your desire to be rid of the thing overcomes the idea of wearing it, and you drop it, back away, and climb the stairs. Turn to 51.
No page 51.
The door at the top of the stairs is apparently bolted or barred on the other side. It is also very battered and splintered. You conclude that the ogre you have just dealt with has made a sustained attempt to break through the door with his club. You can think of only 3 options. Shoulder bar charge the door until it gives way, inspect it closely to find a way to open it, or yell, "I've just killed the ogre, let me in!"
I just killed the ogre. Let me in.
All right, so Brad is saying inspect again. 325. A close inspection of the door reveals that between the battered wooden panels, there are gaps through which you can insert your sword. With a little experimentation, you're able to locate the bar and lift it out of its sockets. The door swings open about an inch. There is a slight, still awaiting obstruction on the other side. Turn to 116. Combat. You shove the door until it opens enough to let you squeeze through. You have barely had time to notice the door had been barricaded with rakes, hoes, and chests full of smaller garden tools when you are attacked by an axe-wielding dwarf. You cannot back out through the narrow gap in the doorway. This will be a fight to the finish. Why don't we roll some d20s, everybody?
Roll them d20s. Make this a little bigger here. Nailed it. Nailed it is right.
This guy's tough. This guy's tough. And OC Brad rolled a 4. That's okay. This guy rolled a 3. He takes 2. You just need a dark fire. Yeah, fork attack! Just fucking stab this guy with the fork! Chad rolled a 7. That's okay. This guy rolled a 1. He is dead. Take that, dwarf.
Easy.
Easy peasy. If you defeat him, a look at his body tells you that although very proficient with his axe, your opponent was quite old and frail. You're surprised to see that his hands and forearms are stained bright green. He must have been the gardener, and to judge by the contents of his large and dusty chamber, gardening tools, sacks of produce, bundles of dried herbs, and young shoots and pots
we just killed the
are tilely arranged on shelves and benches. Yeah, we killed him. There's another tidy room. The room looks interesting, but so does the rune-inscribed axe clutched in the dwarf's lifeless fingers. If you want to explore the room, turn to 268. If you want the axe, turn to 341. And OC Brad...
Take the axe.
Yeah. Better than his laser sword. So...
Proficient with his ass. It's definitely true.
You prize the axe from the dead dwarf's green hands, marveling at the workmanship that forged it. You cannot decipher the runes that run along the haft, but you sense that the weapon has magical properties. It is not just that it's so well made that it will improve your fighting prowess. You also find that merely hefting it in your hands fills you with bloodlust and fearless craving to maim and kill your enemies.
Nice.
If you want to keep it, you have to unbuckle your sword and leave it here. When using the runic axe, your initial skill is increased by 2 points, but your belligerence is increased too. Whenever you're given the opposition to fight anyone or anything, you must always choose the option, and you can never decide to escape from a fight. So do we want the axe or the sword?
I think we want the axe. The axe.
Now can I have laser axe?
Oh,
See a dark fire, Yoshi?
See you later. OC Brad says keep the sword.
Keeping the sword?
Alright.
Is that what you want to do, OC Brad? You want to keep the sword and not take the axe? It puts our skill to 11.
It does put our skill to 11.
Having the option to run away is a good thing to have. It is true.
But our skill's 11. I mean, our stamina is 9 right now. But our skill will be 11.
I mean, we haven't had the chance to run away, but this is OC Brad. This is chat's Choose Your Own Adventure. And now that OC Brad was first, we're leaving the axe. 268.
268.
Sure, let's vote. That's cool with me, too. What does chat say? Slight Haze says go big or go home, which to me...
That's for the axe.
Yeah.
I say the axe.
Hi, everybody.
The sword, or is that the one we just killed?
Hi, everybody. No.
Is he the gardener? He seems so friendly.
Man, I'm reading ahead. I'm cheating. This thing seems funny. This situation with this orc.
Keeping the axe?
No.
Oh.
No, that has no bearing on it.
Chad says axe.
All right. Let the hoodie decide. He shall make or seal our fate. All right, so Mike, why don't you make our skill to 11? 11 out of 11.
Shouldn't it be 11 out of 9? Because...
No, it's our initial skill goes up as well.
Oh, really? Alright. And now we add axe.
Now what's going to happen is we're going to fight an enemy that if we kill him, we lose and we had to run away. All right. Standing by the body of the slain dwarf, you take stock of your surroundings. The room is large and rectangular with a door behind you and another in the opposite wall. Each of the other 2 walls has a large window. The shutters are open, and you can see down to your left the steps leading from the garden to the castle's inner bailey. While to your right, the ground slopes away in a tumble of rocks to the curtain wall of the fortress. You calculate that the door opposite of you will give you access to the battlements of the inner defensive wall, and possibly a way into the central keep itself. This room is light. Airy, ordered, and tranquil. It seems like a good place to have a rest and perhaps eat some provisions. You unstrap your backpack and place it on a bench in front of you. You unbuckle it and lift the leather flap. Among the objects you might have in your pack are food and a section of tentacle sliced from the mouth of a blood lurcher. If you do not have a piece of tentacle, turn to 136. If you have tentacle but no food, turn to 295. If you have both food and a piece of tentacle, turn to 185.
We just have food.
So we have no tentacle, so we go to 136. Weird.
What tentacles?
Blood lurcher.
Is that the thing that was in the crate?
I don't think so. We didn't have a chance to do anything with that guy. Yeah, can't flee. Nice. If you have any rations, you can eat one meal now. Remember to deduct it from your adventure sheet and to restore up to 4 points of stamina if you lost any.
Nice.
So we go to 2 meat pies and we go up to 13. If you have a globe of green glass, you notice that it's still glowing dimly and that it begins to shine more brightly when you remove it from the depths of your pack. We don't have the globe of green glass. Yeah.
No. We have a ball of yarn, though. Does it continue glowing?
As you walk about the room, you begin to regret that you killed the dwarf gardener. You have no way of knowing whether any of these plants or dry herbs are useful or harmful, or whether there is anything of value hidden in the room. If you want to spend the time on the thorough search, turn to 103. If you'd rather cross the room and leave through the far door, turn to 282. Thorough search.
Find more stuffs.
You start to ransack the gardener's storeroom. Test your luck. So we're at what, 7 luck?
We're at 7 luck.
It looks like we were lucky.
6 luck.
Turn to 327.
We find the other half of the fork.
You begin your search of the room at the end opposite the door through which you entered. Near the door, which you suspect leads out onto the battlements, you pull aside a cobwebbed collection of bean poles, trellises, and bales of straw and reveal a grimy fireplace. There's nothing but soot in the grate, but your thorough inspection of... There's that fucking fork again.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It has
But
to
your
count
thorough
under.
inspection of the filthy orifice is rewarded when you find that in addition to the chimney leading straight upwards, there is also a narrow gap beside the grate. You can make out the first few steps of staircase leading downwards in the thickness. Award yourself 1 luck point. Nice. So we basically negated our luck. You have discovered a secret entrance to the cellars of Newburgh Keep. You abandon your search as you are impatient to enter the keep. If you decide to use the secret staircase, turn to 285. If you'd rather leave the nearby door, turn to 282.
Staircase. Yeah, staircase.
Look at these things! Spoilers. Oh, those are blood lurchers. You strike a flint, light the wick of one of the many oil lanterns in the storeroom, and by the flickering light you cautiously descend the steep narrow stairs. At the bottom, a passage roughly hewn in solid rock leads away into the darkness. It is cold and dank. Water drips onto you as you creep forward. At irregular intervals, shafts pierce the roof of the tunnel, providing little illumination. The shafts are too long and sheer to climb, and you see metal grating across the distant ends. You're fairly sure that the passage is taking you beneath the castle's inner bailey towards the keep. The stairs are out of sight behind you, and the tunnel disappears into the darkness ahead of you. There is a wooden door blocking the side tunnel to your right. The door is held by 2 massive wooden wedges that have been hammered between it and the surrounding rock. Do you want to try to remove the wedges and enter the side tunnel, or would you rather press along the main passage? So, try to remove the wedges, or press on along the main pass. I don't like that the door is barricaded. I also don't like that the door is barricaded. We're going to keep going. I like to imagine this.
Bless you.
Excuse me. Thank you. That this adventurer has all these voices in his head telling him what to do.
Oh, it's like there's actually a game out there that's, I can't remember what it's called, but I think it's the inside John's head or John's John something, and the players, it's an RPG and everyone has to decide what John does on a day-to-day basis.
The tunnel comes to an end at a door. At first you can see no way to open it, but after a few experimental pushes and pulls, you realize that the stone slab pivots about a horizontal central bar. You crawl through the lower opening into a long, low cellar, and having established that there is no immediate danger, you push the door back into place. The walls of the cellar are faced with stone slabs, and it is now almost impossible to differentiate the doors you have just come through from the other slabs. The rectangular cellar has a normal door in the center of the short wall at its other end, and a door in the center of each of the long walls on your left and right. Although you cannot see these two doors at first, as they are obscured by two lines of huge barrels that occupy the length of the cellar. You walk between the rows of barrels, each of which has a tap and a small cup on a string. You decide to taste some of the contents of Baron Tholder's cellar, but the barrels all look alike. You have to take the potluck. Roll one die. Roll a d6, someone in chat, please.
D6.
Can we not drink from the wine?
Nope, have to.
But I think it's a bad idea. No, we have to. He must. He drinks. It's awesome wine. Let's see if someone... All right, we rolled a 3, so we're going to 84. You select a barrel, turn its tap, and fill the cup with rich ruby liquid. It is a fortified wine of excellent vintage, and you enjoy every drop. It restores 2 points of stamina. So we go up to 15 stamina.
Well, look at us go.
But it also contains a considerable amount of alcohol, which dulls your senses and slows your reflexes. Reduce your skill points by 2 until you next eat a portion of food. So we go to 9 out of 11. Turn to 286. Can we rest again?
Can we eat? I want to eat. Nom nom nom. Nom nom nom.
You hear a footfall behind one of the cellar's middle doors. Before you can react, the door flies open and 4 robed swordsmen rush in. You face them with your weapons at the ready and back away between the rows of barrels. Behind you, another door opens and you turn and see another 4 soldiers entering the cellar. You are surrounded. 8 swords converge on you. If you want to fight, turn to 239. If you decide to surrender, turn to 49. If you have a jewel-encrusted ring, an emerald, or any gold pieces, you can try to bribe your opponents. Deduct the item you decide to offer, and then turn to 97.
I think we have to fight.
Yeah,
We
our
have
axe
to.
tells us so.
We have to fight, though. We have to fight!
Your struggle is brave, but foolhardily, and you are doomed to failure. Attracted by the shouts and the noise of clashing steel, more warriors flood into the cellar. Eventually, inevitably, you'll begin to tire. You will drop your guard and be cut down. If you attempt to surrender now, you'll be given no quarter. Your adventure ends here. Boom, boom, boom.
It's good. That was very close to another episode on YouTube.
That's fine.
It's perfect.
That's fine. That's just it. That's just how you die. Look at this fucking fucked up bat.
I didn't vote for that option. The axe did doom us. It's true. It was a cool axe, but it doomed us.
Yeah. But you know, we did. I think we got through a big chunk of Beneath Nightmare Castle. I think we did a big chunk of it. I think it's time for us to play some Jackbox. Yeah.
We'll do a quick little YouTube thing before we sign up for YouTube here. If you're not following us on YouTube, or if you're watching us on YouTube, if you're watching us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, click the like button. If you're not following us on YouTube, and you're watching us on Twitch right now, follow us on YouTube, then like the video.
Yeah. But yeah, so we'll probably do sometime in the future on a random night, sometime coming up, we'll do Midnight Rogue, but I'm ready to play some Jackbox.